shopping, working, and relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection. Get NordVPN now. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Superb. Right, afternoon everyone. We're going to start with Louis from BBC Radio Leeds.
Tom, nice to see you again. A few days on, just your reflections on that game against Northampton at the weekend.
Yeah, it's a poor performance. We all know that, and it's obviously a frustrating afternoon for everybody at the club, the players, staff, the supporters. And like you say, a few days on now, we're ready for the game tomorrow. We know that we've got to get back to our top level to get a result, and that's what we'll be desperate to do.
That first goal in particular, when you're a defensive unit, in that moment, what's going through your mind, and how do you react as a collective?
These things happen, and yeah, it's not ideal, but these things happen, and you've got to try and make it an isolated mistake. The worst thing that can happen is that it multiplies into 2, 3, 4 mistakes, and that it sets the tone for the rest of the game. You can either go one or two ways from there, and that's up to you mentally, and it's up to your teammates to help you as well. So yeah, these things happen, and that's part of life as being a defender. And yeah, we move forward. People are going to make mistakes. That is a given. It's a long season. These things are going to happen. It's the rest of the 89 minutes that we're probably more concerned about.
And when you do move on from that game, I mean, it's chalk and cheese, isn't it? The performance over at Bolton to what we saw on Saturday. Can you as a collective quite put your finger on why they were so different?
Yeah, I could sit here all day and go through it all. To put it kind of briefly, you'd probably say that everything that could go wrong did go wrong on Saturday, and when it did go wrong, I don't think we handled it well enough. Don't think we handled the occasion, and yeah, that's something to learn from. We need to give ourselves a better start in the game, create the atmosphere, and create the front-footed style that we want to play, and that'll take us forward into the rest of the game. And we made it difficult for ourselves, and once it became a frustrating afternoon, we couldn't turn that around.
How much of a learning curve has it been so far with the club in League One now? When sides come to the John Smith Stadium, they're looking that if we go to Huddersfield and walk away with 3 points, that's a big scalp in this league. Has there been a sharp learning curve for you to get used to that?
Well, I don't think any of the players that have been here have had that experience over the last couple of years, because it's not been the case, and it's definitely a different feel in this league. Whereas, yeah, it's everybody's big day. Seems as though it's people's big day out, especially with the start that we've made in the season. But we have to handle that. But I don't think we're in a situation where we can just expect, or I don't think anybody's stupid enough to just think that we're going to win every game this season and it's going to be 3s and 4s. A 1-0 win is still a 1-0 win, or yeah, nobody's going to give us 3 points. It's going to be quite the opposite, especially at home. Everybody's going to make it difficult, but we didn't help ourselves on Saturday, and first and foremost it's to do with how we play. So yeah, but people are deluded if you think that you're just going to walk through a season and winning every week 3 and 4-0, and you're going to be 2-0 up at half time every week. That's not going to happen. We're realistic that that's not going to happen, and we don't expect that to happen. But yeah, Saturday wasn't good enough, we know that, but we don't expect to be walking out and for it to be easy. So yeah.
What's the message been from Michael and the coaching staff then in the last couple of days?
Just told us that it was really poor. Just told us where told us what we've got to do better, showed us it was quite clear, and we go from there. We've lost a game. It was a poor performance, and now it can go one or two ways. That can multiply, or it can be put right in the next game. And luckily, we've got a game very quickly, so we've got a chance to get that out of our system.
You've shown as well the defeat at Rotherham, the way you bounced back against Bolton in the following league game. I look back to the first win of the season at Peterborough. You've shown those standards you can hit. So, you said it there, the fact that you've got a game in such a quick amount of time to turn things back around, that must only be a good thing. Yeah,
and it's about, like I said, it's a long season. And if we turn up to the level that we can do more often than not, we'll do well this season. There's going to be bumps and times where it's not going well, and then it's easy when you're winning. It's easy when you're 4-0 up at Bolton, isn't it? But when you're down at home and everybody's grumbling and it's not great and everybody's frustrating, it's what can you do then? So there's going to be them moments, and then that's where you see how good you are.
Do you think, especially for players like yourself, Tom, who have so many games under the belts now, that although it was frustrating, although it was disappointing, you still need that calmness and coolness when you're reflecting on it? Yeah,
and like I said, if anybody thought that we're going to win every game 3 or 4-0, then you just deluded. And I'm not excusing it. It was a poor performance. Everybody knows that. But we're going to lose a game this season, and like I said, it's about the mentality and the strength within us to bounce back and put it right in the next game, and that's not going to be any easier. So everybody coming here is going to make it difficult. They're going to be up for the game, and they're going to be playing at the best of their levels probably. So it's up to us to show that if we want to get out of the division, that we can handle that.
And that's Blackpool on Tuesday, an opportunity to bounce back. They're maybe one of those clubs that some would consider in that big club category when they're in League One. Steve Bruce now in charge. It will be a different type of challenge, won't it, tomorrow night?
Yeah, it'll be a tough game. Got some good individual players. Got a manager that knows what it's all about, and he's done well since he's gone there, so they'll be confident. And like anybody, they'll be coming thinking that this is a potentially a massive result for us if we can get one. So it'll probably be even more of a difficult game than Saturday.
Top man, thanks for your time.
We'll give the mic to Stuart Rayner from the Post.
Hi Tom. I just wonder, when you talk about the need to stay calm and not get carried away by the good or the bad, do you feel like you've got an important role in that respect with maybe some of the younger players who, it's new to them perhaps?
Yeah, I've seen it before, and many a time, and people might think that you don't show too much emotion, but I know how quickly it can bite you in the backside, whether that's a win and getting too carried away or whether it's a loss. And I'm not by any stretch kind of just dismissing what happened at the weekend at all, but equally I'm realistic that we're at some point in the season it's not going to go all your way, and that's when you've got to be able to focus on what's happening and not let it snowball into something else. And we've got a chance now, like I said, in a couple of days to go out there and perform a lot better.
And the manager gives the impression of being very good in that respect, very level, not getting carried away either way as well.
Yeah, I think he's been around the block, and he knows what it's about. That's one of the kind of my favourite things about the manager, is that very recently been in football as a player, and he knows what it's about, and he's been in successful teams, so he knows the mentality that you've got to have and the attitude that you've got to have, and that's whether you're winning. I think I said in an interview after the game that we've hardly celebrated winning because the performances haven't been that great. So it's win or lose. It can just be about staying level-headed, and it's all about the performance. As a player, sometimes you can come off a pitch and you've won and you think we're not sure how we've done that, or sometimes you can feel hard done by it, and we know that Saturday we were poor, and we don't need anybody to tell us that. And we know that we're going to have to be better on Tuesday.
So when you assess games, is the performance the big thing? Because we always talk about it being a results business, but that perspective of performance.
Yeah, because more often than not, the performance is going to dictate what happens. obviously take a win playing badly. Don't get me wrong, I'll take that. But you know, as a player, whether you've been at it, and you can feel it on the pitch. If you're the better team, if you're dictating what's going on, if you feel in control, sometimes you might scrape a win or you might get away with one. But I think it's clear on Saturday what happened.
And for different reasons, there's a lot of high-profile clubs in this division this season. Do you get that sense, as you were saying to Louis, that teams really do see you as one of them, and as a big fish, a big scalp in this division?
Well, yeah, obviously we've just come down. People probably think that we've got a big squad, lots of players to choose from, and there's that. I think we're one of a number of teams who's well equipped, but can't remember too many teams that have come down and absolutely cruised their way to going straight back up in recent years. So it shows that it's difficult. It's a difficult task. Some teams it's taken multiple years for them to get back up. Obviously, I'm hoping that that's not the case and that we can do it first time around. But you get what you deserve at the end of the day, and we've got to show that we deserve to be up there.
Yeah, I mean, you're certainly right about big clubs sort of getting stuck in this division. Do you think there's a bit of an adjustment between the Championship and League One? I don't know whether it's mental or footballing or whatever.
Well, it's just a different challenge, isn't it? Like, if you're staying up or fighting to stay up in a league, or you're not going to be up towards the top end of the table, it's a certain amount of wins, isn't it? Whereas now we've obviously got to win majority of our games, so that's a different challenge. The way that teams will play against you compared to how teams played against us last year will be different. And yeah, it's a different group of players. And the styles of teams might be a bit different. But fundamentally, there's things in football what never change, no matter what league you're playing in or who you're playing against, and you've just got to try and do those things more often than not.
Thanks, Tom. Superb. Thanks. Just give us 1 second. We'll get the microphone around, and then we'll finish with Stephen from We Are Terriers. Thanks, Steve.
Hi, Tom. Good to see you. For all that, and obviously Saturday was disappointing, but when you look at the league table, obviously you're still in a positive position after that strong start. Could go third with a win tomorrow. Does that sort of do you look at the league table? I know it's a question you've been asked a million times. I suspect the answer is no, but does that provide that extra motivation, particularly when you know you need to be up there come the end of the season?
Yeah, we know we've got some. I think we've got a patch now or show where we're really at. If you can come through the fixtures that we've got coming up in a similar position, that'll be a good amount of games played. What will it be, 9 or 10 games played? And you'll have played some of the real top teams in the division. I think you'll have a good idea of where we're at. So I think that's an indicator, and it'll be interesting to see how we can perform against those teams that are up there. And yeah, but I just think that each game, as a player, you're never looking too far ahead, because we've got such a big squad now that you can't afford to look too far ahead. You've got to play well every week, and if you don't, you've probably got 2 or 3 people that are desperate to get in the team.
Yeah, I think that's especially true in your position. There's good options there. Do you feel? I presume you must be very pleased that the manager has, shown that kind of faith in you to get that job done.
Yeah, well, that's his decision, isn't it? He's going to pick what he feels. I'm the same as any other players. Since coming back for pre-season, you've got to show what you can do, show what you're about and what you can offer to the team, and try and do that on a Saturday as well. And then it's up to the manager to decide what he thinks is best.
It's your first time playing League One football, I think I'm right in saying. What have you made of it so far? Have there been any sort of differences you've noticed compared with Championship?
I'd probably just say that I've had it before where I've been at the top end of the division in the Championship, and I'd just say this time's around it's just a bit of a different atmosphere where, for whatever reason, we've kind of, whether because of the numbers we've got and obviously coming down, we're now expected to win every week, which I think is absolutely fine. I've not got a problem with that, and yeah, you could probably say that is justified. But I think that's the biggest difference this season. Yeah, and I think that everybody's eager to have a go at you, and it's a big result, like we said before. Coming to play is a big result, and I just look at it as, well, let's not disappoint them when they come here. Let's show them there's a reason for that, and we didn't do that on Saturday. After the game finished, I'm sure Northampton kind of went home thinking, well, I'm not sure what all that noise was about. So that was disappointing.
Thank you.
Superb. Thanks, Steve. We'll be back with Michael Duff at 2:30.
Sure.
All right.
That's it. Thank you.
Cheers, Leesy.
Working and relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection. Get NordVPN now. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day. shopping, working, and relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection. Get NordVPN now. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Superb. Thanks, Louis. We'll start with you.
Michael, nice to see you again. Heading into tomorrow, do you have any fresh injury concerns from the weekend?
No, everyone came through the game fine. So yeah, clean bill of health that way. Obviously, David Kasuma's back in full training now. Short on minutes, but he's still available. He's now available. Other than the more longer term ones, it was a clean bill, but probably the only positive from Saturday.
On Saturday, a few days on, how do you reflect on that game now you've had a bit of time to reflect?
Not a lot from what I thought on the day, to be honest. Anything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. Turned down too many opportunities to play forward. Didn't run hard enough. Didn't come out of any duels. Gave poor goals away. Missed a penalty. So yeah, lots of things didn't go right. So with the game coming so quickly, it's an opportunity to put it right. Opportunity to try and put in a better performance. You're not in control of the result, but we definitely need to put a better performance in.
For yourself personally, how much do you take it personally, like over the rest of the weekend? Are you the kind of manager who sits and dwells on it? Are you the kind of manager who likes to park it and move on? How do you deal with it after everything's done on Saturday?
The same as what you try and do after the Bolton game. You watch it back, you take the good bits, the bad bits, where we can improve, deliver that this morning, which we have done. I've never been a ranter and a raver. It's not the way I believe you want to work. I've played through that era where managers would just tell you you're rubbish and then tell you you're rubbish again and then rubbish without actually giving you a solution and trying to help. So we've shown in the pictures of when we're turning balls down to play down the sides more, and we've shown, the second goal. It's a perfect example. Their players running past our players. Can't happen.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in football. If you take things for granted or you don't run, you don't win. It's one of the first things I said when I came in the building. I've said it to the players. Why doesn't everyone win every week? Because it's hard. That's why teams like Man City are so amazing. Yes, they've got good players and the best manager in the world, but you look at the way they run and their application and they live right. And I'm not saying our players don't, but to have that mentality to just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, it's tough.
Based on what you've said to us just now and the time you've spent with the players, I'm guessing that bare minimum expectation tomorrow is to certainly see that reaction.
Yeah, I think I'd speak on behalf of most Huddersfield supporters. I think that you can handle getting beat, but there's a way to get beaten, that wasn't it? And it was just lethargic all over the pitch from minute one. I don't know why. Like I said, it was the best week's training we've had in terms of the quality and the things that we were doing, and for some reason, hopefully, it's a bad day at the office and they react properly. Joe Hodge came on and made an impact and did well. Other than that, wasn't a lot of credit, but the reality is it's 12 points from 6 games.
Yeah.
There's going to be bumps in the road. You're not going to get it all your own way, and we'll finish where we deserve to finish. So it's just trying to flatline it a little bit, not get too up, too down, too emotional, make rash decisions, which is why sometimes it's good to leave it 24 hours before you do watch it back, just so you're not still angry.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was disappointing. So we need a reaction tomorrow.
Question I asked Tom, and you kind of mentioned it there. Look, still 5th in the table, 12 points already. Despite the disappointment and the frustration from Saturday, do you still require a bit of just take a step back, have a bit of coolness, have a bit of calmness, and get back to what we do best?
That's my job. My job's not to get carried away with last week. My job's not to get too down after this week. The reality is, it was quite a simple fix. Run more. So sometimes when you're getting absolutely outplayed off the park and things like that, and you're all over the place tactically, that's a different thing. But the players just needed to run around a little bit more. I don't think Lees had anything to do, which sounds weird because we conceded 3 goals. But we've only conceded 3 goals in the previous 5 games.
Yeah.
So I think there have been lots of good things. There's lots of, and I end up saying it every prep. You're shifting a lot of things at the football club. Teams aren't just going to come and roll over and have their bellies tickled. The same as if we went to Man City, there's a little bit of fear. So you're thinking we better turn up today, otherwise we could get a bit of a doing here. And that's what Northampton did, and they did it really well. Because of, and that's what we can't have. We can't have an expectancy, an arrogance that because we're a bigger football club than Northampton that we should win the game. It means nothing. And I keep saying it all the time. There's some good players. Tyler Roberts is a good player. He's playing for Northampton Town, but he's a good player, and I thought he showed that on Saturday.
Do you feel, and albeit I know last season was before your time at the club, but with the club now in League One, they are one of the so-called bigger sides, that the players need to learn quickly to deal with that expectation, especially at home when you say your Northamptons and your Shrewsburys, with the greatest respect to them, are going to come and raise the game, and if they walk away with something, that's a big scalp. Part
of the challenge, part of the change you're trying to make. So, Huddersfield in the last few years, underdog spirit, terrier spirit, all that sort of stuff, but we're not an underdog now.
Yeah.
So it's another mentality that you've got to try and shift. But it isn't always easy. Like, I used an example the other day of when Leeds came here. 10 men, couldn't break you down. Yeah. It's hard, and you look at the quality of the Leeds team that team had, starting 11 and the substitutes. It's hard to beat low blocks. But that's not the reason why we lost on Saturday. That was, like I said, more of a lack of energy in the team, which is a surprise because we'd had a clean week.
You mentioned him just then, you mentioned him in the post-match, Joe Hodge, maybe the only player that came out with that credit in the bank. What have you made to Joe's time at the club so far, and what did he bring to the side at the weekend when he came on?
He's a good footballer. And with respect to him, you have to be a really good footballer when you're the size that he is.
Yeah.
So is he going to win headers at the back post? No, but he makes you play. He takes the ball, and the players have seen that. They see it in training. And although he's been here for 3 weeks now, I think it was, but he's been away with the international break, and it's having time with him that we ask our six to do certain things which aren't like a lot of other teams, and we don't want him to go into certain areas of the pitch. So he's learning that whilst building a bank of trust. And I thought, Saturday was a good game for him. The fact that we had a lot of the ball. And like I said, we turned down opportunities. We didn't switch the play quick enough. We didn't play down the sides quick enough, and he sped the whole play up, which is what he does. He goes looking for the ball and he makes you play.
I think we're all been speculating we wouldn't be surprised to see him in the 11 tomorrow evening.
We'll find out tomorrow evening.
I knew you were going to say that. Blackpool tomorrow, we talk about some of the so-called smaller clubs coming to the John Smith Stadium. I guess they're in the category more of a big name in League One. It will be a different challenge, and I guess it goes back to that point. It's about being adaptable, isn't it?
Yeah, there's lots and lots. There's games within games. One of the bigger teams in the league, one of the fancied teams, obviously unbelievable manager. The level that he's managed at, I think they're top of the expected goals league. So they've created more chances and better chances than anyone else in the league. So that tells you that they're a threat. They've won the last 2 league games under Steve. So yeah, we'll have to be much better than what we were. But you've got to park that up now, and it's another game, it's another opportunity, and hopefully we can get a good performance and a good result.
And when they have won those 2 games, and I know we talk a lot about a new manager bounce, but it does feel since Steve came into the club, there's a good feeling back at that club. It's on you, isn't it, to take that sting out of them tomorrow night?
It's up to us to deliver what we need to deliver. We've shown that when we do it, we look a really good team. Have we had that consistency within games? Probably not. But again, that's something that we're looking to add in is a consistency in the mentality, so we don't have these big emotional ups and downs. It's just rolling out and knowing what you're going to get, and that's what the players have to try and deliver.
Looking at Steve coming to the club tomorrow evening, obviously he spent time at Huddersfield Town many moons ago. Do you ever envisage yourself having a management career like that, Michael? Is that an ambition of yours?
Yeah, if I have half the career that he's had, I'd have done okay. I'm relatively new. I think I'm 6 years in now.
Yeah.
You look at not only the amount of games that he's managed, but at the level as well. Unbelievable. Been successful pretty much everywhere he's been. don't know him personally, but I know people that know him really well. Met him be an unbelievable fella. I saw a clip of him the other day, but the fact that what he did at Newcastle when he volunteered to come out probably tells you everything about the man. But no, pleased to meet him. Hopefully I'll have a drink with him afterwards and we've got the points.
And when you do have those moments when you can have a drink with someone like that, you said you're still, in relative terms, early to your managerial career. I guess still any piece of advice or anything like that is still really grateful, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm always, same as a player, played till I was 38, still learning.
Yeah.
Quite happy for someone else to give me advice, listen to other people's opinions. I don't think my ego's big enough that I don't think I'm right all the time. That's why I have a staff. You know, if I thought I could do it all, I wouldn't have the staff, and I'd take all their money myself. But you need your staff because I don't know it all. So if we get an opportunity to have 5 minutes with Stephen, I can pick up a nugget. The best coach is the best thieves. So, I'm quite happy to listen to any advice that he gives us.
Thanks for your time. Best of luck to tomorrow.
Cheers.
Thanks, Lloyd. Come to Stuart from the Yorkshire Post.
Michael, is the mental side the biggest thing that you need to work on when a side gets relegated? Tom was talking before about how the boot's on the other foot now. The team expected to win, whereas last season was about just picking up enough wins.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots and lots. So we've gone from being an out of possession team to now having a lot more of the ball. So that's changing the crowd expectations of what is a good performance, what isn't a good performance. Gone from we want to press high up the pitch. So again, changing mentalities of where we normally used to bank in. I think my last game at Swansea was against Huddersfield, and we had 82% of the ball, I think it was. So we've gone from that to 70%. So there's lots of things changed, and the mentality is the biggest one. I think the club got to a point where it was used to losing, and the mentality is that's we need to get rid of that. That's sort of, it's not always the end of the world if you lose again. We might win the next one. It doesn't mean you have to lose the next one because we lost the last one. And that takes. It takes time. It's just not going to happen overnight. A lot of the squad were here last year, so they've been a little bit damaged by that. But there's enough new faces in it, and there's some quality in the group, and it's just trying to drive that every day, those sort of standards, because it's been tough for the football club because it's sort of like weird where it's been 2 really successful seasons and in amongst 10 really poor seasons of struggling. So we need to try and change that. Just get into that. Coach is a buzzword, but it's just doing the right things, habit forming, so it becomes. So you don't worry about the result, because the results are a byproduct of what you're doing, and if you do it consistently well enough all the time, you'll pick up the results.
And as you say, it's not something you can just flick a switch with, and it's difficult to get that understanding from outside, isn't it? That you need that time.
Yeah, it's. I think there's lots of signs of progress. And Saturday we took a punch on the nose, and it's getting back on the horse and recognising why we failed. So if we get beat tomorrow night, I'd like to think it's not because they ran harder than us. That would be the real disappointment.
Do you think that mentality, perhaps that mentality that trying to get away from, maybe shone through a bit too much on Saturday, in that when things go wrong, there's a maybe a feeling of, as you said, we've lost 1 week, we're going to lose the next. Something's gone wrong. It's going to keep going wrong. Was that a factor on Saturday, do you think?
I don't know. It's a Yorkshire trait. Glass half empty. It's I lived up here, so I know. But can we be positive? So what were the positives from Saturday? There weren't many, but there was a couple. So and just trying to dilute and take the positives out of those sort of performances, because we need to be better, and it's tough. I said to the players this morning, all right's the enemy. How'd you do? Did all right. What's he like? He's all right. Don't want that in football. If you're doing all right in football, you're not succeeding. So don't just come in and coast, and don't just do all right in training. It's having that sort of that level of consistency in terms of your behaviours, as much as anything, around day-to-day habits, and it all ties into the result on a Saturday. And that was the disappointing thing. I've said it a few times. Saturday's a window into your working week, and the working week was really good, and the Saturday wasn't. So that was the disappointment bit.
And speaking of Yorkshire mentalities and the like, I've seen a lot of people jump on Michael Hellick's own goal as an example of this is why teams shouldn't play out. Do you just have to sort of factor in the way you're trying to play this season, that not to accept these mistakes, but almost ride with the fact that there will be mistakes, so long as it's outweighed by the positives of how you're trying to play?
Yeah, someone said the same thing to me. Try to compare it to the Bolton goal the week before. I think it's completely different. You know, it's an overhit back pass. He's not particularly trying to play out. He's not really getting pressured. I think if he sets it properly, Lee probably boots it down the pitch. You know, the Bolton one, the goalkeeper's trying to find a pass when we've got 4 men in the area. That wasn't the case. It's an occupational hazard. Centre half score on goals. Centre forwards miss penalties. So I can accept that, because people, they're human beings. So as much as supporters don't want them to be sometimes, they make mistakes. I think as a general rule, Misha's been really good. So he made a mistake. So was it? I don't think it was sort of even playing out the back, because I think he's looking just to set Lee, and I think Lee would have just kicked it down the pitch. So yeah, we've gone from 20% to 70%. But the frustration on Saturday, from my point of view, and probably the supporters, was it was a bit too passive. And like I said earlier in the interview, we turned down opportunities to play forward too often. We turned down opportunities to switch the play too slowly. So that's what we need to get better at. So it's all right. You know, I don't want to get known as any type of coach in terms of, we're in possession, we're out of possession. We want to play mixed football. I don't want to play short every goal kick, but I don't want to just smash it down the pitch either every time we get it. It's getting a mix of the two and being good at all facets of it. Misha made a mistake, no problem, get on with it. But the reaction wasn't great either, like you said. And that was, we need to make sure that if we do get a couple of moans and groans or something goes against us, that we react, stick together. Back to the process of why have you been successful in the earlier games of the season. So just having that consistency again.
And how do you coach that into play? Is it just about talking through processes? How do you sort of get that mindset into them?
In terms of?
Well, fighting the human nature to let bad things snowball and that sort of
Well, hopefully you're here long enough that you pick up enough results that they see that the behaviours that they were doing during the week comes out on a Saturday. And if you're doing it right all the time, it becomes a habit. And they talk about winning being a habit. And we're not there yet. Clearly, we're not there yet. But there's been lots of positive signs in terms of, supporters don't see a lot of what's going on in terms of the work on that mentality, because we've taken over. The reason why there's a relegation is because something went wrong, something was broken. So the opportunity to sort of reset it and refix it, but it won't happen in 5 or 6 games.
Thank you. Give us 1 second. We'll get the microphone around, and then we'll go to Stephen from We Are Terriers. Thanks, Steve.
Hi, Michael. Accept your point, obviously, that Saturday was more about performance than tactics. Obviously, I think that was quite apparent, but we have seen more and more teams sort of targeting that space behind the wing backs. Do you feel like there's things you can do within that 3-5-2 to fix that, or are you sort of now reaching a point where you might be thinking about other options, other shapes?
No, I don't think we'll be looking to change shape at the minute. I don't think they've exploited it. I think the goalkeeper smashed it down the pitch and we've not reacted properly. So I don't think it's a tactical thing on shapes or formations or anything like that. People are in the wrong position. So there's 3 centre halves on the pitch. If you're playing a back 4, there'd be 2 centre halves on the pitch. You can't get done in one ball like that. So people have made bad decisions. People switched off too quickly. But like I said, I don't think it was anything to do with the shape or the formations. There's not a lot gone wrong before that. Before the Rotherham game, I don't think we deserved to lose the game. We won the other 4. On Saturday we were poor and got beat. So I don't think I'm looking to rip it up and start it again. We either believe it's right or we believe it's wrong, and it's a two-way street. We believe it's the right way to go at the minute. If it gets to a point, your wing backs are really important. I thought both wing backs were really poor on Saturday. So you're only as good as your wing backs when you play this formation. So where they were having that, that's why we changed shape. We went to a back 4 because they weren't working. So we've had them in today and we've shown them what they can improve and what they need to do to be better. It's part of coaching. It's teaching. You've got to teach them what you want from them. So I don't know whether I don't think that was a tactical ploy that they've gone, right, we're all to the goalkeeper, you smash it over their head and we'll score a goal. I don't think I'm being disrespectful, but that's what it was. It wasn't a tactical element.
Okay, you've answered my next question there as well, so that's it from me. Thank you.
Superb. Thanks, Steve. Right, we'll see you all tomorrow night. Thank you, guys.
Shopping, working, and relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection. Get NordVPN now. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.